bring your appraisal system into a workflow. We've attempted to kind of give access at every table, but unfortunately I think the network has been slower than expected, and we couldn't progress enough. What are the key things you need to watch out for? And then we'll show you how the proposal note as well as the PD is obtained on this. So just start up. So I think all of you had seen how to log in a new proposal. After logging in, you go to the proposal note section. There you open your case number. This is the screen which opens up. So the first screen there is lead generation. Can you just please click on it? I think this screen was very intuitive. You just, the next screen is where you enter the customer details. So here the UCC gets picked up. If it is already there in car, like I explained to you, most of it will come auto-populated. Then you got to give details of any corporate party who is either a guarantor or a third-party security provider. The objective is, you'll be running a dedupe on these parties. So this is the place where you kind of log in information about them. Also, in case there is a corporate guarantor, basis whose financials you want to rate this whole proposal, even that selection has to happen here. So I think that's the tab, and that's a very important tab. Just click on that. So if there is a corporate guarantee, you have to click yes. Basically this is what will unfold. So here you have to then also decide whether the scorecard will be run basis the corporate guarantor financials. Once you choose that and save it, there will be some 7 new slides which will unfold at the bottom, where basically you will have to capture the detail of the corporate guarantor as well. So, and the scorecard will be run on that. So you'll have in such cases to enter the entire 29 or 30 screens as well as the screens for the guarantors. You also have to enter their key details. This is more for the dedupes, like I explained. You can click no. It's quite, I think, intuitive there. Then you have to, this is again a very important selection you got to make. You have to choose the industry of this customer. So the key point to note here is that in addition to the industry, there's something called a sub-industry. So what we've done here is that, we've tied up, I think, with CRISIL. So one of the features we've introduced in this whole workflow is, to check for the consistency or how strong your assumptions are on all the benchmarks, key benchmarks like turnover growth, margins, etc. vis-a-vis industry. So what we've done is we've mapped our existing industry base of around, I think, 60 industries to around 140 sub-industries. And you have to choose the right sub-industry, which will then help you, get those benchmarks. If you make mistakes here, then you'll have trouble. Other addresses as well. It's not just the registered office. There's a drop-down tab there. So you can choose, his corporate office address. So I think as and when we forward integrate, because this whole attempt at this workflow system is not going to stop here. It's going to go forward as well, and it will possibly cover inputs for your post-sanction process also at some stage. So like Rajesh keeps on harping, I think one of the key features is this will capture data at one shot for your client. So hopefully, I think one key benefit you will get is the MIS, because if somebody asks for MIS, you can just point them that the data resides in the system, so you can please approach BIU or whoever and download directly. So, but that's correct. That's right. But then what CMOG is trying to do is, for all their CAL generations and all, they also want to pile on. So they want to, add source capture. So that's why all these options are built in. But for now, I think registered office is compulsory, right? But in case some of you feel proactive and you want to fill, I encourage you to use the system so that at least the details are captured. That's right, absolutely. Yeah, come down, please. Okay, so here, this is just a snapshot here where you capture the external rating of the borrower as well as, his internal rating, if applicable at that particular point. Just more to the next slide. So this is the customer details slide for you. I don't think any of you will really face any hassles in entering these 2 slides. Then we come to the screening list. The screening list now, is a function of 2 things. One is your program guidelines. So I think all of you must be familiar by now. You have program guidelines and operating guidelines. So this more or less captures your program guidelines. go no go criteria partially, and there are operating guidelines also. So this screening list is more to ensure that you're not doing something which is not authorized in this program. So basically that's the part we are capturing here. This is fairly self-explanatory. The next bit is again very key here. So this is basically your target market norms, because one of the things we had decided early on is that we want to ensure that we don't spend too much time on the wrong proposals, because that will clog bandwidth. So we decided to continue with the target market norms for now at least. So here you will have to capture quickly the target market norms of your target customer, and then if there is a deviation, like this will auto open. So if it is not in range, so then you got to put in your comments, and as per current process, if there's a deviation, you'll have to take I think Rajesh and Suprita approval. So that's what you'll have to follow. Yeah, that's right, if it crosses NFA. So that process holds. So this is a very important check so that you don't forget. I'm sure this is very basic though. This is your screen number 3. Then we come to screen number 4, which is your document checklist. So essentially, when you go, right, if your basic criteria is met, you go meet the customer, you will first anyway ask him for 3 things, which is I think what the SMEAG people do for sure. They have something called a prelim score, but we've disbanded that as part of the MCG development because we've kept in the target market norms. So I mean that's just there. We feel that the rework rate or the rejection rate post target market norms will not be very high. I mean this is our thought process. Only time will test that. So there's no prelim score concept here. So you have a list of documents you need to kind of collect from the customer. 3 are anyway most important. I think you need to collect his financial documents, you need to collect his bank statements, and then you need to collect his authorization for you to conduct the civil checks, because he's not yet your customer. So these 3 are the most important. We'll try and see how to prioritize this. Currently, a lot of other documents are also tagged mandatory, which is basically his KYC documents like PAN card, AOA, MOA, all that is also mandatory. It will be needed. So we put it. We're not sure whether to do it. So anyway, by the time the workflow is rolled out, I think it will be proper. It will be very simple for you guys. Yeah, please. Yeah, I know that we are just fixing this, but so like I told you, only 3 documents are super critical in your first meeting, right? His financials, his bank statements, and the consent form to conduct dedupe/GST check, right? So when this gets rolled out, I can assure you it will be very intuitive. I don't think you'll have to waste time, and you will have to upload the scanned copy of his documents. See, one of the thoughts we are exploring, but anyway, I think you voiced it. I think when we had the RM kind of introduction to Marvel on February 13th, at that point I think people said, we should possibly have a system where, we can just send it to the customer and then say, let you upload and give it to me. So I think the beauty of all this is, we'll get there. Maybe not immediately today, but that is definitely there in our minds, and I think IT is also, very keen to give you a product like that. So just come down. I think, is there anything else down there? So I think document checklist is fairly simple.
And you can add.
So you upload it online so that there is no requirement of an email exchange with credit.
Yeah. No, so even the emails which are critical, you find, just take out 10 minutes to upload it.
I think it's per file 10 MB.
Yeah.
Sir, in that case, e-filing for these documents will not be
We'll communicate that to you. I think when it is rolled out, we'll make sure it's kind of sufficient for your normal usage. That's something which is bare minimum. So then we get on to the next section, which is the management details. Now here's something where I hope you'll kind of find this facility useful. What we've done is just scroll down. See, one of the things which happened, directions given to us, was that see, many of the customers migrate from SMEAG to MCG. So I think at senior levels the thought process was the customer should not get inconvenience, and this process that we are building should mirror the SMEAG process. So we could not really build from scratch in that sense. We tried to maintain that overall flow. So we don't want the customers also suddenly one day he's coming to your group and he says, boss, what is all this, right? So we try to stick to that process. In that context, we've chosen most of the fields to be the same as what's there in that system. However, what we built in is, since that system had a lot of fields where you have to enter on a tab basis, you have to paste or whatever, you have to enter and go. We built in a Excel upload facility. So for this, most of the entries in this particular screen, all you got to do is open this Excel. This Excel link is given there. Just get it from there. Either you fill it, or you ask somebody to help you, or you ask your customer to fill it. But you please verify, because it is very important, because all the the names for the dedupe checks will get picked from here. So we can't have mistakes here. That will have serious consequences. So that check you obviously will have to own. But yeah, something comes filled, yeah, you must check, and you can just get it populated. The mandatory fields are all marked in star, and it's also structured in a way where it's easy for you to see what is what. Like for example, you'll have the address, corporate address, right? The residential address, etc., etc. So then you just upload. So it gets populated, right? So you don't have to really scroll through. Then in addition to that, I think you'll have to fill details on any personal guarantor. You can just click Chank on that. So again, here you can capture his name, whatever key details, then his net worth and his address, right?
One suggestion here.
Yeah.
Most of the directors will be personal directors.
Right.
So if you can select under the director, he's also a personal director, and
Same as someone
It's like
else.
a residential address and then permanent address. So that
Yes.
Fair point. I think that's
Same
Yeah,
as
it's I think built in. So they thought of that. Hey, hi,
just a checkbox.
yeah. Directors may personal guarantor, yes or no. Then you'll get fit. Glance through it. It's a pity we couldn't make you do it individually, but I'm sure when you access it on the corporate network, it'll be fairly straightforward. But now that the UAT is available, I don't know, we'll just let you know how we want you to run it, maybe not immediately. Please go back to that menu. I think shareholding details, hai na? Yeah. Then you also have to upload the shareholding pattern here. So this again can be done through an Excel, so that you don't have to really go through all these tables and fill. Alright? And then you just upload it. But please make sure, like I said, the data in the Excel is correct. That ownership you will have to take.
Bala, will it capture the DIN number of the director?
I think it's there.
So with that, can we connect somewhere and like probe or something?
Absolutely, I think, yes. So we don't want to overpromise, but there is a parallel project underway where we plan to, get all this. So, including your CMA as well as the director details, we don't want to really trouble the client, though we will have to edit it. It will come in a pre-filled way. That project has gone slightly out of timeline, so we don't know when it will come, but it is there. It's getting action right now. Then the next section is your associate company details. So here you got to give details of the major sister concerns or other associate companies as well as group companies. This again can be done through an Excel. So again, it just captures the key financial parameters, that the PAT, AT&W, whatever is important. It's not too much, right? So with this, this also can be done through an upload. I think till here it's been pretty straightforward. I don't think any of you, in this room will ever find it so difficult. Obviously there'll be teething troubles, I think, when the system is rolled out, but I'm sure it's not something, which we can't overcome. The next section though is a little bit interesting, because this is the dedupes. So the thought process is that, before we invest too much time, right, we also need a sense check on, whether, any of the promoters and all fall in any of the banned lists. So this again is a project which is going to get automated, but currently not yet automated. So what we need to do is we need to just do the pulls. So all of this comes from your management detail sections. but once you put in, you just need to come down, and you got to, you know, click these 3 tabs: CPCS, individual civil, commercial civil. Now, so I'm told, you know, when it will be rolled out, even the other links will be working. So like RBI exporters, RBI defaulters, it will all work.
Yeah,
So you got to just check.
that will come by the next 2 weeks. It will be there.
Fantastic. So that will make life really simple.
Now proceed. That is basically, see, the information that is given on the top is the information that will be sent to the bureau to get the report. So we are just asking you to check the value that is given there, or is it okay for us to proceed for checking the bureau. That's it. Because sometimes, sometimes what happens is there any special character is there in your company name, like M and M. M and M, the apostrophe or this one is not considered by ampersand is not considered by bureau. So that's why we are bringing all this information here on the screen and asking you to validate once before we hit the symbol. Whether it is on a defaulter list or the or any other caution list and all, and the action button will also be here, so that you can put your comment saying that what is that match come for and what is that action on that.
The current process is that if any match comes, which may be a correct match or a phonetic match, then they take a required approval.
Correct.
And then they say that this is not matching because the name is matching but PAN number is not matching, and then
Right.
they attach that email back to into the system. So here, how the approval will happen?
No, we can build it as part of this flow itself as an approval. Because the entire node itself is going as a memo approval within the system. So even the DDU approvals can also be part of the system itself.
Can we have an attachment of mail here?
So I think what he's saying is, instead of having an offline mail attachment, once you have a match and you justify that this is not a valid match or I still want to proceed for XYZ reasons, then the flow, by the flow of the system, there should be an approval that should be sent to the required person who will approve it in the system. Which should be highlighted.
Right? Some of the violations can be serious. You might just not want to go in. That's right. Sure. Just close that, please, and we just move forward. So just calm down. So this, you know, the bureau reports are important because in the credit engine, there are 3 modules, right, which contribute to the scoring, right, on a quantitative basis. One is this bureau, individual bureau, one is the commercial bureau, and third is the financial parameters. So hence it's very important. QC is qualitative. It also has a scoring impact. If you think on a quantitative side, these are, you have to make sure that the CIBIL, reports are fetched and it's a success. Likewise for the commercial bureau, we got to make sure it happens. Then once you do that, there's also a further check here, which we do, just to make sure that, you know, some of the other hygiene parameters are met. Like for example, our bank directors should not be their directors. And then likewise, you know, it should not be a related party in terms of, you know, our PIVG group, what they do, right? Our auditor or something like that. Then whether, you know, there is any SMA reporting, that check is done here. Likewise, you know, we expect you to look at the CIBIL report which has come, because, you know, while scoring will happen, just to make sure, you know, the hygiene is maintained in the CIBIL reports. You've seen through some checks around that. Something around the litigation checks.
So, Bala, you should explain the
We'll see. So this is just yes, no, and your comments in case some match happens.
info tips explain.
We have in fact added info tips at not just this place, at several places throughout the workflow, wherever we felt that either there is some more detailing that you may require to understand on how you need to fetch the details, or what is the kind of explanation that needs to be given. So there are those small I's that are there across the workflow, explaining the particular field and how you need to fill it.
So wherever you see that small blue circle, right, you can just put your mouse over that and it will just pop up and show what are you expected to do there. So if you're not happy with the quality of the info tip also, please feel free to let us know, we'll get it changed, right? The idea is that the user does not need to call anybody, you know, he just looks at it and understands and puts it. So especially, I think we would love to hear from the youngest of the lot, right? Who knew? We thought, we will give 2 awards. One is to the Spider-Man team for being, a very good participant. They came in early and they connected everything on time, and by and large they were there. I think they tried to understand and do everything themselves. So we felt that you really concentrated in this program and tried to do your best. So congratulations. Please come and take a set for this.
Tushar, if I may request you to please.
We see the Krilsi system can't be mined, online. So what we're doing is we have developing an middleware where certain teams have been commissioned to download data for your customer, and those reports would be available. So I think we can do some analytics of that, and that's what that report would come for you. So we don't have it up and running yet, but it will be rolled out shortly. So that's the system. But in case for whatever reason it's possible that your client is not covered, so you may still have to visit the Krilsi system manually, and from there you can get these details. Then you also have to check for RFA fraud or AUW anyway, not for a new case. And then the ERM framework. So this is also a very simple slide actually. And here's where you kind of upload those reports which you will get, which are not really impacting your PD, but still a very important part of the way you analyze the customer behavior. So one is the bank statement analysis report.
So the iCaps tool has a functionality where you will be able to download a small version of the overall output that the tool generates. That's less than an MB file, which will then get uploaded over there where you see the upload iCaps report icon, and which appears as a summary in the note itself. So today also all the typical transactions, the number of check bounces, the typical transaction behavior that we analyze, that will come in that summary report which can get uploaded here. Now, in continuation to what Bala said on Krilsi, so Krilsi and EDPMS, where we are developing this backend, we are trying to generate some reports which would be available to the team, which will have a time series data. So to say, for example, if a company has been in arrears, not just today, because normally Krilsi gives you a point in time data, but if there are arrears in the past, let's say in the last 2 years or the last 1 year, the SMA reporting, moving in and out of default, exposure details and so on. So once that report is ready, that can be uploaded in that Krilsi icon. Likewise, EDPMS is a system, I'm not sure how many of us are using it today. Only ETRG. So I think we'll probably have a session to familiarize the team with... No, so DGFT side, the link to the DGFT site is one thing. What we were trying to do is, on the basis of the data that's available with EDPMS, if I'm able to analyze what is the kind of export bill behavior of any client and draw up some sort of analysis to say that are the export bills being realized within time or with a delay, or what's the kind of export turnover that this company has. So that kind of analysis is what we want to throw up in a report. So, COB would be an ideal point to check for EDPMS. No, that's right. So,
no, so the idea is not to check with any other team. So the idea is, there's a system where, this, so you will be given access to a system, simple interface. So you go plug in the, PAN number of your I code of your borrower or a PAN, and then you'll be able to get this report. What that report will essentially tell you at this stage, at this stage of development is, look, this is my customer, this is the export bills which are pending. So if somebody's got pendencies over 180 days, then it's on flag. That means something is wrong there. So that information comes to you. The second bit is that in terms of which all countries he's exporting to. So for example,
of course know the risks that Bala highlighted, but also the opportunity that where are we in terms of the other banks, and what is the customer dealing with us? Because the moment you deal in forex with the customer, the ROE becomes disproportionately higher. All of you know that better than me. So that's a piece which we have to leverage on very, very well and get into that cycle.
Is considered for the PD score?
no, it's not considered for the PD score. Campus in 2000. See, at that stage, you really don't have too much of an idea of banking. But today I can say that, yeah, I know far better. But how do you grow? You grow only by thinking and, asking questions. So I would encourage all of you to just take time out, read or, analyze. I think somewhere, that part, in our pressure to achieve targets, we just miss that. I think that's very important.
This is just some sort of a summary output of what we are trying to do in the EDPMS exercise, where we are saying we want to have the average time taken for bills to be realized, bills that are pending for more than 9 months, hence giving us a kind of a red flag indicator to say that realizations are delayed from this particular company, from the customers of my borrower. The turnover validation, the export turnover validation of bills that are completed or which are in the process of which have been raised with customs, and like Bala said, country-wise export data. Exercise for different kind of SMA status for the borrower. How many times has the borrower been in SMA 0, 1, 2 or moved in and out of default in the last 6 months or 12 months? And to have a sense of the exposure of the borrower and the number of lenders and the lenders who have declared the borrower as defaulter now or in the past. So if you have all of this summary in a small snapshot with you readily available just by searching with the PAN number, that should speed up the process and facilitate it. That's what we are trying to do by building a database for all.
It's being created manually and there's no other way. It's a hardworking model. So you will get it for your set of customers. So it will really start benefiting you in the next cycle of renewal, etc. Once you onboard the customer, we'll start building the data. For the existing cases, the data is being built. So just appreciate that difference, because when you do the NCA, we don't have data currently of that customer, because we're not sort of building a full database out of Prince.
Yeah, and also once in a while, like once in maybe 3 months, you're free to use it to just see the SMA behavior of your client.
Yeah.
So that's also there. So you just use it.
And there is an SMA 0 reporting even for 2 days or moving in and out of default for 2 days, then the number of records that you have could be voluminous. So the way we were trying to capture that is if I have moved in and moved out of default plus I have SMA 012. 012 gives me the sense of number of days of default. So whether it's in 0 to 30, 31 to 60 and so on. So that clubbed with and moved in and moved out of default the number of times, that should give you a holistic picture. Rather than just saying, number of days, 5 days, 15 days will probably not give you as much sense.
In that case, if we can include the peak default. Peak.
Peak default and average maybe.
Peak is good. For 45 days.
Let's note that.
What should be treated differently?
Let's note that.
We'll note that. Let's see how we can the kind of, let's say, the customers of my borrower, the amount of invoices, the states, the products. So the kind of summaries that you can make on a monthly basis, if I were to know that these are the customers with whom my borrower has purchased from or rather sold to, or the supplies taken from, the top customers of the borrower, top suppliers and so on. So once we have that, I think there can be a detailed summary, which I think Rajesh also mentioned, for us to, if we achieve this, then doing a faster renewal process or more validation of the financials that we have for the borrower could be much easier. Plus, I think the end state that we all wanted to achieve was kind of create a P&L for my borrower using just the GST returns. So GST has, except 3 elements, I think it has all the constituents of a P&L which can be recreated. So sitting in April, I should be able to know what was the financials of my borrower for the previous financial year.
And then you got to choose the benchmark to which the rates are going to be linked, or if it's a commission, you just have to put, type in a commission, and then you got to put in the spreads and the security cover. So this will, because these are the key details anyway credit needs. So this is what you got to fill here. Likewise, you keep on adding as many facilities as you need, right?
Bala, here, do you want to clarify what are the meanings of those grey fields? Or people know that?
Just move up, I think.
Yeah, the non-fund or fund-based, what does it mean, the grey fields? You want to clarify
No,
that?
that's, you don't have to, it's just linked to the name of the facility.
But to them.
Yeah, so I think the idea is, these are getting categorized and, a summary table will pop up at the bottom. So wherever, you have a field which is locked, it will come in grey. So you don't need to, during the workflow, Wherever something comes in grey, that means it's pre-populated from an earlier field, so you don't need to edit. But it's just there for some easy viewing or for some logic which has been built in. So having done that, I think we got to capture whether there are any sublimits, interchangeability. Yeah, this is almost like, then this from here it just flows into your term sheet, right? Then you have to put the processing fee details. Then here, just come down. Yeah, these are just summary tables again. Like.
These are auto-created from what you've entered on top.
Just come down. So there could also be, some facilities which the customer must be enjoying basis 100% FD. So that exposure, if you want to report, I mean that's the option to fill that in. Mahesh tells me it's very rare, so I'm assuming you'll not be doing this. Just go ahead. I think this bank guarantees is for renewal, so this will not apply right now.
Likewise, we have this template for key manager, wherein we input all the details in Excel sheet and then upload, and then automatically it can. Same, we can do it for the facility.
So actually, the facility one is very intuitive. I think it is very simple. You really don't have to. While it looks like that.
It's about our facility. This is our facility, not other banks.
Yeah, this is our facility.
But it's not
Bala, with the PAN card number, can we fetch other exposures what he has in the bank, in the system? In a separate sheet, that's fine, but at least he comes to know if he is not disclosed to the
So there's no way you can know the individual bank exposures because Krilsi stopped reporting. Achha. Okay.
ICICI Bank, that's like CCD loans कई बार होता है.
No, I think no, absolutely. I think Ashish, what you had showed in RM Workbench yesterday, what we were trying to evaluate is what out of those details can we auto-populate here. Right now, I don't think we are there. So income or products within the ICICI.
After the account is created, after the account is created, RM Workbench data will flow in there.
Right.
Because there's no transaction of the customer received. With the current existing customer, whatever data he has in the system with ICICI Bank can be
Yeah. There is a project, so in that the corporate, the main corporate and all the associated retail associations what we have in terms of the salary account, different type of loans, the different type of retail, corporate loan that is taken will be seen as one view for the customer. So once that project is on, for the retail, the customer 360 option is already completed. For corporate, we are in that process of doing it. So once that comes in place, then this can be linked there. You can see all the relationships, existing relationships, including retail also. Yeah. How many salary accounts he has already with us? How many loans of for his employees that we have funded from here? So all that information you can see.
Will this be only the existing current outstanding or some past loans he had taken and that's to say house property is taken and that's over?
That all depends on how we want it. So the linkages will be there, but exactly how we want
the relationship he has with the bank.
Yeah, but we can provide that. That all depends on how you want that information. Of course, linkages will be maintained for all the past and the present association of that company with us in any form. Yeah, sure.
Yesterday we had touched upon an element of flags that we said will get highlighted in the system itself. So we have two types of flags here. One is pure financial related to something that comes from a CMA. The other is some business related flags that we want to highlight so that you can delve deeper. The system will automatically throw prompt and ask you for an answer as to have you looked at this and justify that. For example, in this particular case, though the capacity utilization itself is quite high, but there's a reduction in utilization from 2018 to 19 and hence it's getting highlighted for you to justify why the utilization has reduced. Here I think the answer was quite simple because the capacity itself had increased. So it's not as if the production had reduced, but the percentage of utilization had reduced. But that's a simple explanation. The system will prompt you over there and there's an option right at the bottom to put in the comments.
So just on that point, I think, yeah. See, on these intelligent flags, we've been having a lot of debate at our levels itself, I think at the design level, most of us were in favor of, highlighting everything. I think McKinsey had a very strong view that, this engine is designed to capture most of the workflow. So it will capture and give you actually a PD. So you need not really delve into everything. So I think right now we've limited the flags to around 15, 20. But my urge to the team is just think through, especially the senior people. If you feel that, it helps upon usage that, you want to have more, intelligent flags or something, feel free to let us know. We'll review it in 6 months.
One session on this. Now here the percentage has come down, but the absolute value has gone up. So if absolute value has anyway gone up and the percentage has come down, you can possibly go that way. It's not wrong.
No, it's nothing. You just have to type in a comment. It's for you to just examine. See, it doesn't mean that, it's a red flag means you reject or it's going to have an impact on PD. Nothing. It's just for you to know that this has happened and you just examined it, right?
Yeah, maybe what we can do is change the color from red.
No, which is fair, and I think it's a fair point to say that the production itself has increased.
No, so that is the over-engineering. See, what we should not do is do over-engineering in the system. Because this marble is just a first step. We should not over-engineer the system to make it so complicated that we run a 6-month project again after 2 years. That's not the way we will function. So we should not over-engineer things to complicate, if and all, because you can program everything. But what we should do is highlight certain things so that's why man and machine have to sort of work together. So we should not over-engineer the system, and we as business should remember that when we tell IT. Because the moment we do that, we'll create Finacle 7 versus that, what was that project which lasted for 2 years? Yeah. So that migration took some 24 months and we lost competitive advantage as a bank. iMobile could not become the state it is today because of those projects. It's a fact. So we should not over-engineer. We should ask for details. Think credit when you ask for details. I think that was the mechanism we followed in brainstorming. We said what is important for credit should come here. What is not important for credit, we can make it optional and good to have. So we use that principle. So use some principles in which you think can give suggestions. Then you really make the system a meaty system.
Credit expected more clarification on certain items, right, before it gets submitted. And then we realize if flagged upfront, this can result in significant amount of reduction of rework. So that was a proper approach. So we actually had like whatever 120 different flags, and we say what are the 15, 20 that really matter, that really will streamline our work between risk and credit, and that is the outcome that you see.
And I think this are covered through these flags. We would also avoid sales and credit speaking different things and different zones being asked different questions, right? So again, the principle is to try and move everything towards a system, a standardized set of queries, flags, so everyone moves to one common approach. And again, there could be 40 flags, you could put 100 flags, but there's also an 80-20 there, right? Because the flip side of having too many pop-ups go up, too many flags is also additional things you would have to enter to justify everything, right? So it's a balance. As Bala said, we believe this 15-20 cover most of the queries. If we go along and find there are too many or too little, they can be always revisited.
Yeah, thanks Aditya. I think, that's a very important point because, yes, a lot of attempt has actually gone in prioritizing those important flags, which are, because we don't want to redo that. Thank you.
One of the things which we are being questioned, okay, and once the case has been submitted, then the second time the case has been submitted, and then there is this 15-20 things which we have found that is very, very common across all the mails and all the conversation. Why can't we get that information upfront? So then it will reduce the, to and fro between credit and sales.
Yeah, okay, we move on. So now I think, this is again, I think many of you would be familiar. You're expected to talk about the top 5 customers and suppliers. So hopefully with the GST platform reports are running, you just have to look at that report and key it in here. So it should be much simpler.
There are a couple of flags over here, for instance, high concentration of customers or suppliers, which here, for example, I've entered 52% for this customer. It gets flagged there. And you need to enter the remarks. Yeah. You need to justify the high concentration of customers.
It helps you actually focus, this is a risk. It's not necessary, it could be a strength, right? You're dealing with, a strong counterparty for years. I would view it as a strength in some cases.
And one key thing I think is it auto-populates in the note. So that's the idea.
That's right.
So as a approver or as a supervisor, you can actually see what is the rationale given.
The flags get popped up into the...
It gets popped up and the comments which come below the financial table are automatically the comments.
Financials and these other flags also, whatever is getting flagged by the system, they will be highlighted to the approver separately in a section in the note. Along with the comments made by the team.
Whatever is entered.
That gets flagged up about what
So I think we had put it for the current year, we are adding for the second year also now. There is an option to add it, we'll probably simplify that.
So when it comes, you can add for... No, you're right. So you see, there are three sources of information for this. One is the self-declaration by the borrower. Second is what does bank statement say. Third is what the GST says. Once the GST is up and running, we expect you to use the GST. That's it. Nothing else.
information can come.
Absolutely. No, information also why? I mean, okay, you can. Yeah, you do. You do. But for that, there are other complications. So he has to give a PIN. So we don't know for sure whether your customer category would do that. But if he does, yeah, you can do a lot of analytics. I think that's...
Fair point that was raised yesterday. Will the RM be able to edit not just these flag comments or anything across the workflow, which we've also highlighted to Arun, if we can have that functionality built in for the RM.
Later on, if you realize
So the ARM anyway has that option. I think the request was that the RM also can have the option to edit rather than routing it back to the ARM to edit. Which we've noted. Fair point also. So this is just a summary of the kind of
customer and supplier concentration. We just want to know how does it get flagged up as it's a single customer concentration or is it a cumulative of top 5 customers contributing to...
No, so for customer and supplier concentration, it is any single customer or supplier with more than 50%. Capacity utilization is a decline in capacity utilization over the previous year. So the current year minus the previous year if there is any reduction. And if there is a high percentage of pledge shares, which is defined as more than 25%. For the financial flags, this essentially when you upload a CMA, all these ratios that are highlighted over here will get auto-calculated and will pop up at the bottom of the CMA. We'll show you that once it happens here in this case. They'll get populated below the CMA and there'll be a comment box over there, only if it gets flagged. So only if there's a breach beyond a certain threshold. There are thresholds defined for each of these parameters and there will be a note over there for you to understand why it has been flagged. So that you're not in the dark, it's just flagged over there. Just one point I would like to make here is that some of these flags are related to comparison of audited financials of the current year versus the previous year. Some of them may be related to the projected year as well. For example, if there is a significant increase in turnover that's projected in the next financial year, then there will be a flag thrown because you need to justify. If the company is growing at a certain trend, there cannot be a reason for a significant increase in turnover or in EBITDA margin unless there is a justifiable reason for it.
So one interesting thing you guys would like to note is that, there's been a lot of debate on multiple things, in this entire project. And I am really thankful to McKinsey because they brought in their European experts as well as their Southeast Asian experts who tried to benchmark what we're doing. And I'm saying this because, I was also party to some other, management exercise we did to analyze, how we should position ourselves. So when we, went through the things other banks are doing, I think it's quite eye-opening. I think the future is going to change quite rapidly, and I think McKinsey's really brought in their expertise, and they've helped benchmark. Hopefully, this will help us improve.
Credit manager can't access the note.
He can only approve the note.
He can approve the note. He will have an option to enter.
There's no other one.
Not reject the note, I think is what the RM team wants to say.
Shah the other day, about 4 days back, he gave an idea that the credit team also should be able to put its comments independently into, and it should come to the sanctioning forum. I think it's a brilliant idea. We didn't think through it. So I requested, I just told Arun also that maybe this kind of a thing we will come up with, but there is no hurry. We should deliver it in a steady state environment. It will come. The speed at which I think that team works, we should not put pressure on them to give these features, but it will come. it will still be faster than what you were doing. So you will get it in a defined
No, I think,
time.
yeah, that's right. I think that is definitely getting built in. I think it's specific queries. Sometimes credit says that you've not phrased this properly. So, so then I think what they are saying is that we tell them, boss, aap karke de do. Right? I think that is what I'm hearing. Correct? No?
But that can lead to other issues. I'm not sure if you want
Rajesh,
to
can we create one empty page, like a blank page in this full screen? Credit can write their points against each
I think
issues,
that's
which we can be responded
That
by the
thought
business.
process is what Tushar added. That's what I'm saying. That we have to think through and program it well.
So
So
just one
currently it's
thing.
just an idea. We should not put a blank screen or anything. We have to think it through. How will we sort of program it in a very structured way? So it has to be thought through before we put it in the system.
Like if you see that board note which goes on iPad, for every page you can write your notes. There's a sticker on the top. For every page of
I know.
system.
So I'm just saying that
From that something
just now.
When they're looking at the note initially, there'll be more of comments in terms of questioning as to why something has been done. So if you are going to capture all that.
That is what I am saying, Sandeep. And that's for half the credit team has left now, at least the senior. But the idea was, that is why we sort of took a lot of inputs and that brainstorming. We believe the number of queries credit will have will reduce dramatically.
No, which is fine. I'm saying eventually what is the credit opinion gets reflected in the rating rational.
No, so let me complete. What I'm saying is, therefore, if what Ashish mentioned, we need the feature for that, we should certainly not develop it. The supervisory team within the business should tell our people how to write. That's very clear. So if that is the reason you want functionality, it is not being given. But if it is for a noble cause that Tushar mentioned, it is given. So let me
What I wanted to add was on the similar, but the final thing which comes, the TL is able to delete because there are many queries which the credit managers actually raise on the academic side. So
that's where I'm saying this is a suggestion which
Yeah,
came
so
from Tushar. We will think it through because after creating Marvel, we should not create bottlenecks and ask for it. Sometimes when we ask for certain features, it can also lead to. It's like if you have a weapon, you will end up using it. So if you are building something like that, so the culture should be that we as business and credit together think through what is the most efficient way. And we should be true to the name of Marvel. It's not because of Marvel Studios, right? It is because of the acronym which became Marvel. We should do accelerated returns via efficient lending. And we can do that if we ask the right kind of questions. So that's why the programming has been done with a lot of thought. Yes, there can be some big misses, like this one I consider a big miss by us while we brainstormed in the beginning. But it's okay, it's okay. We can still live with it. We will build it in a time frame that we will see to it. But having said that, how it will be done, what will be the mechanics, let's think through again and come back. We are not sort of committing to any way, whether it's a post-it method or anything else. It should not encourage useless questions from even the credit team. So that's the message I want to give. We should do our work as business. Credit also will be responsible to ask you questions in a particular way. So currently, let's live with the system and see how it operates and then make changes. Because if it creates a lot of things that you again deal in emails, then of course we have to reprogram. But let's experience it to do it rather than jumping to it. So that's my request.
So, just move on. I think we covered half the workflow, right? More than half. That's great.
We should sit and finish it.
So next we come to the financials. So here you're supposed to upload the CMA. Now this I think the CMA has to be prepared, and that takes a lot of time. So that continues. Only thing is what you need to do is you need to pull down your format from here, fill it up, and upload it back.
So it's basically configured to the latest CMA version that is there in Universe right now, 9.2 version, 9.3 version, sorry. Only thing you will need to do here before you populate the CMA is you will need to select the from and the to year. So from, let's say 2017, 3-year audited to current audited plus another 2 years projected. So once you select the years, So because your CMA itself offline may have additional years for which you may have populated or kept them blank. Once you select the years over here, it will pick up only those particular years and populate the CMA on the screen.
It's the same CMA that you'll upload.
The same. Tabs. And this table below the CMA is where you see the flags that are highlighted, the financial flags. So in this particular case, 5 flags were highlighted, which were on turnover. And the middle column essentially tells you the reason for why they have been flagged. So the trigger, let's say it's a 10% deviation or 10% growth or degrowth in the particular parameter, or TD by NCA being more than 3.5, and so on. So all the reasons are here for the RM to understand, and then you put in your respective comments, which are mandatory. Plus, that's right. Plus, you have the option to add any other additional comments. So typically in our CMA or in our financials, we have a comments on financial section. Just to facilitate that, we've added an additional add button there at the bottom, which you can keep adding any other comments on any particular field or any ratio that you want to highlight.
Yeah, especially the positives. I guess you would want to say, yeah, please look at this. Somebody might argue all
But the negatives are anyway highlighted for others, so if you want to add more positives, you can do that.
Highlight positive. One question of this. Generally, like of current assets and current liabilities.
That's there on an upper screen also for current asset liability details.
We have a descending order of current assets and descending order of current liabilities, and then give a breakup of that, and with that we give a commentary. Again, those kind of things, would it be possible here?
So, it is there in the workflow, it's just not there on that particular screen. There are separate fields, big fields that are created where you can add tables with a breakup of current assets and current liabilities and explain it. It's just not there in this particular screen.
Shilpa, one question on the financials. It could be in the next batch of your upload, but last 2 years back, the accounting policies have changed, moved to Ind AS. So only a 1 year comparative is people make it for their financial reporting. But if you take it, say 2012, and that's Indian GAAP, and 2017, 18, 19 is Ind AS. So somewhere do we capture, because a lot of things will change, particularly stocks and of the profits, which will be readjusted. So they would have adjusted only 1 year, not the corresponding 3-4 years.
So Prashant, how would you do it offline today? You will still prepare a CMA where a particular year is on one accounting standard and the subsequent year is in the new accounting standard. And you'll probably put in a remark over there to say that there's been some adjustment. The process will be the same. Once you prepare your CMA based on whatever classification you need to do, system will only populate that CMA from what you have prepared.
Yeah, so you have to just capture that whether it's Ind AS or Indian GAAP.
I think, so that's a short-term thing which you can capture anywhere in the workflow to say that this is the reason for that. You can add that in the comments right there at the bottom to say that the reason for this deviation is essentially on account of this, or as a general remark to say that there's a difference in accounting standard. Current assets, actually we'll put it as current assets and liabilities as well, not just non-current.
I have a query, Shilpa. One thing is that when we do Excel uploads, do we have to follow the exact syntax of the Excel which we have taken
Absolutely.
out?
So,
or else what happens?
No, fair point. The templates for each of the Excel upload have been provided in the screen itself. So if you just scroll up. Yeah. So wherever there is an Excel upload functionality, you will see the option over there to say that please download this template. You have to strictly follow that template and do not deviate from that, else it will not get uploaded. There will be an error that will be thrown up by the system. The way we've designed these Excel templates is simple. It's to facilitate the process so that you can probably just send it to your client to fill it up for you. So we have, let's say, about 7-8 Excels that are there across the workflow. You have to strictly adhere to the standards that are provided in the Excel template itself.
So row number G3 is this, so G3 will have to fill like that.
The other fields will not be applicable by you.
It will not read because it's becoming data in the system. Appreciate that point. So in the beginning days, the client, if they don't follow the format and delete 2 rows, you will have to see it. So those kind of checks, we will never over program in the system. You will have to do that check. If there were 15 rows in bank statements or the other bank's facilities, he's deleted 3. So the system will not work. So you'll have to manually transpose it and bring it. And maybe why did he delete those 3? Whether you know the answer, then it's fine. But that work will need to be done.
The additional thing that we have done is we've also highlighted the mandatory fields in the Excel, and wherever possible, if there is a drop-down option available on the screen, that same drop-down is available in the Excel also. So to that extent, the Excel will be very user-friendly. Touch, because I think we've done that in the morning. It's exactly the same screen the way you saw it earlier in the day.
So the next slide is on inputting the security details. So here again, like what you have to do is, first is you have to choose your security that you're going to talk about. So you just go, first choose secure, then you say whether it's current asset or fixed asset, you'll have to choose your drop down. So for example, you first will take current assets, right? Then immediately you can add it. Just press add please, yeah. So then, I think it's coming down. So then you will get the details of the current assets that you're supposed to pull. So you have got to talk about the valuation date and the source. I think that is the primary fields that are required. So in source you will get an option, just show that. Either it's a balance sheet or a valuation report. Because if it's a valuation report, then you'll get a lot more details which can get captured in the property valuation. But that's a separate field. If it's balance sheet, then it need not be captured. Just go back up. So likewise, you got to add for every security that you take, what is the value, what is the nature, and who's the owner. So that's what this captures at the address, right? So this is security. Then once you've done that, you got to link each of the security to the facility. So that option comes right below. So the minute you've entered all the securities, like for example, I have fixed assets charge, I have collateral, then you will have to go, your facilities which you've entered in the assistant details will be shown to you, and you've got to say now which of the security applies to what and in what nature. Because it could so happen that your cash credit is secured by land, extra land, something is not. So then that mapping happens here. That's what happens here. So you want to handle this with care, but I think it's pretty simple.
Bala, just one thing.
And this will get forward linked. I think that's the whole idea.
If we have hundreds of pending compliances on city valuation,
especially with respect to properties where valuation is involved or something of sort. Many times we may not do valuation upfront, we may do valuation post. Right. So initially you may put other and then do the valuation, and then post doing the valuation the value might change. So the actual value has to get captured in the NSM. Right. So will we have the option after approval also to go and change the value of security if it is better?
Yeah, sure.
If it is lower.
Yeah, so at this stage we are strictly focusing on the pre-sanction activities. So we are in touch with CMOG to see how your post-sanction activities also can be streamlined. So that's.
Tushar has a different question. Bala, can be accessed as extreme as property itself is not identified. So then in that situation, probably we'll have to give an option of unidentified, but the value is approximately this much. Here right now we are giving options like valuation report or balance sheet kind of thing.
No, that's there. Other is there. Others options are there.
So then we have to specify that it is not yet identified and approximate valuation is there.
And then you will put a condition maybe.
Collateral should be reservation. Then you can get.
So that's something which we'll have to
just
make it clear.
Yeah. But we don't want to encourage that.
No, we don't want to encourage, but it's kind of a.
It's enabled, but.
Definitely here in the system because the case is not yet sanctioned.
Shilpa, the other bank share is already taken care because we entered your.
But security-wise, the other bank share may be different. Each bank for every facility may not have the same security that you have. I know, but I'm just trying to understand. I mean, things can be built in, but I'm just trying to understand the objective for that.
In simple terms, I think it's implemented in SMAG. I think we should look at it.
Security valuation template.
Yeah. Security valuation is being implemented in SMAG.
Okay, we'll take a look at that and we'll come back to you.
After that, the note goes to the RM who needs to verify the note. Currently, like I said earlier, the RM doesn't have the edit functionality. And if the RM wants to edit, you have to send it back to ARM. While IT works on that and we see that solution, the RM will validate the note, after which it gets submitted to the credit analyst. Now the credit analyst, if you remember, was chosen on the first screen. The name of the credit analyst and the credit team leader was fed in the first screen itself. And this is the credit analyst tray over here. Can you open that case? credit analyst will be able to see the note, the dedupe details. I think we're adding a financials details over here as well. Proposal note will be in a PDF form. So we have created a short version of the proposal note, which essentially I think in 4 to 5 pages captures a gist, which is followed by a few annexures because the QC itself runs into 3 or 4 pages, plus some banking details and all which are there in the annexures. So it's a summarized, abridged version of the note, which will go to the sanctioning authority. Of course, there is a master note also that's available that captures everything that's been captured across the flow in the system. Check, show the note.
But we can change credit analyst. If credit analyst name is given and if it's required to change the analyst, that option is there.
Yeah, you can always change it.
That his boss reassigns.
No, I think it's not there right now. This option of change of credit analyst and adding more RMs and giving them new access, that we've noted that down.
Yeah, because that's
We'll take that.
if somebody's on leave or or he's overloaded that he can assign it to somebody else.
Sandeep, fair point. We noted that down. We'll come back to it.
वही तो लीव का प्लानिंग करना है. कैलेंडर अभी से ही बनाओ, and then as an organization, I guarantee you that we'll stick to that calendar, provided we promise one thing, and that one thing is that you create a buddy system within each of the zones, so that there is seamless takeover. And I said service. You remember the first words we used yesterday morning? Indeed, we have to look at it like that. So your leave planning has to be very, very accurate. And I don't think if somebody takes a day off, it impacts the proposal. Today we are taking a tag of some 25-30 days. If we are even reducing it to a week, even there a day, if it is, because what I mean is that if you are taking leave in an unplanned manner, which is the privilege leave, that's very, very wrong. You should be able to plan 1 year in advance when you want to go on leave. I think that culture we should build, and 7 Habits is about that. So, while this functionality can be built, it should not be used at all.
There's a section for a small note. So maybe some abridged form from.
Just one point. So, what you say, see, if you build, see, there are no controls built in the system except for that until that complete button comes. Okay? We are not trying to over-engineer between the modules. Okay? Now you get an output of a PDF. It has gone through an ARM, it has gone through an RM. If both people do diligently, most likely then you will have a good outcome. Okay. Now if you build things like this, we also want some integrity to be there in the note that it is from the system. So think to a situation where you give this kind of a feature and the note is edited. We don't want that. Okay. So that's why ask yourself a question of over-engineering. Do you need that feature? Indeed, will it help? Or copy-paste is good enough, which is already there. To make a PSN note, is copy-paste good enough? Think through. I'm just saying, don't answer these questions, think through. Because asking for any feature, you will please create this image, Finacle 7 to Finacle 10. ICICI Bank took 36 months. We lost 36 months in the battle for that's when HDFC Bank gained. We can't lose 36 months in a bank's lifetime. So think through. Over-engineering is not great for any product. When you ask for features, think through what will be the implications. Ask those questions to yourself and then populate it back to us. We will listen. I'm just saying, ask yourself those questions as well.
Sir,
yeah, Prashant, you had something.
It's told that in our workbench we have option to upload the PDF or a small note. So if you go anywhere to a client, you know what all you have entered. So we have a bridge form or this form can directly be uploaded in RM workbench.
The note.
As a note. So you have a copy when you are seeing on a mobile or
5 pages. Balance is annexures. I don't know whether people picked up that. Did you notice that?
No, I think
17 was including the
12
annexures.
pages annexures है.
17 annexure है.
30 जो that QCAs है, that is taking up 4-5 pages. Currently we are allowing it to come because it's new to us. See, all of us are going to learn, right? So it's actually 5 pages. So अभी से जो briefing note ये वो सब बंद करके यही इसी में हो जाएगा. So spend the time, those 8 hours you will just spend. Even when a note has to be sent to me to see, it will come through this, and that will be the real test.
Sir, may I for PSN, anyway, if we are raising PSN through an IMEMO, which is not possible in the system now, we are going to do through an IMEMO. We can attach the original note and say on this page, this is what is mentioned, this is what we are changing. So we just attach a brief word 5 which says that this is what we are going to change. And then attach the original note, I think that should be sufficient.
On that one, we can't be even 10 days late. We'll solve the problem and we have to give it to IT. For March 24th is the deadline we are saying, which we'll give to IT. Then IT will plan and come back the delivery time. So I think Q1 is when this will be delivered. Till then, we will not over-engineer in the sanction modules. But what we want is that we want to reduce the email culture totally. And that's why I really appreciated what Tushar had said earlier to us 3 days back. And we should build that query system also here so that the TAT is known. Then I don't have to ask, and maybe the Monday review meeting can be a 3-minute call rather than a 30-minute call or a 1-hour call. That's how we save time for each other.
So
Credit manager overruled you will be out there to see and learn.
With so much of subjectivity, overruling somebody without that guy being there.
So offline, will there be discussions?
Offline discussions होंगी आशीष, but the point is that
नागपुर बैठा है ये वो बैठा है पूना में कैसे?
But वो आज भी होता है ना, the credit team is sitting in an offline location. I mean, I know there's a lot of back and forth that happens. We are trying to reduce the back and forth, but there's a discussion, then that will still happen.
One more aspect to answer, and that's what we'll give maybe a macro sheet, which we thought of based on the suggestions being made in the room. 30 may say 15 are actually financial parameters, where the answer is simple. So we will codify it. The probability of it going wrong is very low.
No, today also the dissonance was not that much dependent.
Absolutely. So we feel that's why the objectivity has been added to a great extent, and also explanatory notes. So go through those explanatory notes in the back that has been given to you. We can see then and improve on it.
So this is where the section where the credit team will enter the strengths, weaknesses and any additional conditions that are imposed and the respective risks.
So last May you will all present what you saw. What all they presented you will have to present again tomorrow morning.
The workflow from hopefully almost till the end, till the generation of the PD score. If there are any other questions?
Yeah, take the PDF. A lot of formatting doesn't conform to what we normally do as per standard of ICICI Bank. So I think a lot of things need to be taken there, so that integration may be put off for some time till we stabilize on this formatting.
Formatting problems होते हैं.
A lot of formatting issues are there. Yeah, even now I saw numbers when 4 digits don't have a comma, and a lot of things are there. I want to know whether there is a web version of this available for like clauses available on the web, so we can access it anywhere and start.
I think he's talking.
Yeah, this should be available. It should be available on VPN.
VPN means that that's on the intrabank. Clauses available as a web version. I can go to the. Yeah, I can go to the.